Hello and welcome to the Puck. I'm your host and founder, Tali Campbell, brought to you by Studio 4, covering action at the amateur level. On today's show, we have NHL news from Game 1 and some Game 2s of the NHL. Chris Cannon is in with your Eastern Conference as Terry Nelson-Rave is still in Edmonton. He'll be back here on Monday to do your Friday and Saturday show for next week. NHL news now, not much news to get to as far, but there was an injury for the Ottawa Senators, which could be effective for them quite soon. Ottawa Senators center Milan Mihalik out for the remainder of the Senators' playoff hope with a torn ACL. It happened during their first game versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, so unfortunately for the Ottawa Senators, but the Ottawa Senators did get a win, as Chris will explain later on. Now on to Game 1 of your Western Conference news. First off is the Colorado Avalanche taking on the San Jose Sharks. This looked to be like a San Jose sweep, but unfortunately, well, fortunately for some, the game is not going to be. Colorado won last night 2-1 against San Jose. Rather, that's on Wednesday they won. And that game, obviously, as we talked before, it should have been a sweep, but not. The Avalanche are still showing their young legs can get it done. To start the game, Craig Anderson saved 25 of 26 shots with a .962 save percentage, and he will be the goalie to watch of that series. On to next series, Los Angeles Kings with the Vancouver Canucks, a game that ended into overtime. What a game that sure was. Michael Samuelsson getting the overtime win, 3-2 for Vancouver in that game. As I said before, a rough, intense game that could see a possible Game 7 that one. The star of the game was Michael Samuelsson with 2 goals. The game winners, I told you before, in overtime, 29 shifts equaling 19 minutes and 37 seconds of time on ice. Then to your team, another team that could possibly go to Game 7, the Phoenix Coyotes taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Phoenix did win that game yesterday. It was 3-2 for Phoenix, and the teams have to stay out of the penalty box. There's only one non-power play goal, and the star of the game was Derek Morris with 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points in total, with 30 shifts totaling a time of 20 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, although Chicago and Nashville still have a Game 1 to decide, which is later on tonight, which we'll tell you later on about, but now we're going to head to Chris Cannon for your Eastern Game 1, as Terry Nelson-Rave is still not here. Chris? Welcome to Eastern Conference Game 1 news. Obviously, I'm not Chris Cannon. We've been having some technical problems with Chris Cannon's videos coming into us. We apologize for that again. He should be here and our tech problems should be done by Monday, but for now I'll be covering the Eastern news, Eastern Conference, as well as the Western Conference. Western Conference, seed number 1 versus seed number 8, the Washington Capitals taking the Montreal Canadiens. Everyone thinks this could be a sweep out from the Washington Capitals, but no, that's not the way. This game did go to overtime, Montreal winning 3-2, Thomas Plekanec getting the overtime goal. Alexander Ovechkin, the captain of the Washington Capitals, really was a mindless player that game. He had no shots, he had no assists. We were talking about just nothing was really connecting with him that game. As talking about the start of the game was obviously Thomas Plekanec with the overtime, the game-winning goal with 32 shifts equaling 21 minutes and 31 seconds on ice. Another good game, 2-1 for the Flyers of New Jersey. Again, that game, as we said, could go in possibly Game 6, Game 7 area. The start of the game was Brian Bouchard, the goaltending for the Flyers, stopping 23 of 24 shots with a .958 save percentage. Yet again, if you're watching this game on CBC's Hockey Night in Canada, the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Boston Bruins. Buffalo winning that game 2-1. Yet again, that is a nice rough game. Bodies were flying. Zdeno Chara was hitting. Zdeno Chara was getting hit. And nice rough game as the ones I like. And yet again, the goaltenders were starting that game. So the game was Ryan Miller stopping 38 of 39 shots against him with a .974 save percentage. The Pittsburgh and Ottawa game. As you know, Game 1 of the time before, Pittsburgh injured one of Ottawa's players that keeps him out of the remainder of the Senators' hopes for the playoffs. Well, in Game 2, which we'll get to later on the show, Ottawa injured one of Pittsburgh's stars. Jordan Leopold he was motionless on the ice for quite a while after the hit, and Andy Sutton. Andy Sutton's feet did lift the ice, so it could possibly be a suspension. No penalty was given on the play, but possibly a suspension coming because, you know, with their new NHL hits-to-head rules and everything, a suspension could be coming. We'll have you updated that on tomorrow's Hit the Puck. But now let's get to Game 1 of the series, a high-scoring game. Ottawa 5, Pittsburgh 4. As we said before, this is going to be a rough series. Whether it goes to Game 4, whether it goes to Game 6, 7, whatever, this is going to be a rough series, and you better see some suspensions going out and some big hits. To start the game, Chris Kelly does not normally get mentioned a lot in the National Hockey League, but he sure was the hero of that game for the Ottawa Senators, scoring 1 goal, 2 assists, and a total of 21 shifts equaling 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Yet again, we apologize for Chris Cannon not being here, and you have seen my face the whole time, you know, so horrible, although it's pretty good. No, I'm kidding. But we apologize for not having Chris. Terry will be here next Friday and Saturday. Chris hopefully will be here Monday and Wednesday. We apologize yet again. I'll have more Western Conference news coming for you, as well as some Eastern Conference news. Stay tuned. Hit the puck. Hello, welcome back here to Hit the Puck, brought to you by Studio 4. We are now in the studio. As I told you before, excuse me, as I told you before earlier in the day that we are still covering the National Hockey League Game 1 of the Nashville Predators and the Chicago Blackhawks, as their game was later on in the day. Another underdog team won yet again. Chicago Blackhawks lost to the Nashville Predators 4-1 this evening. No scoring through the first period, the only goal in the second period was from Patrick Kane's Chicago Blackhawks forward, and then the third period was dominated by the Nashville Predators, especially P.J. Dumont. P.J. Dumont started the game with 2 goals, won the game tire, and won the game winner. Now we are plopping over to the Eastern Conference Game 2s. As we mentioned before, we apologize for Chris Ken's videos not being uploaded as we've had some technical problems with videos via email. He should be here tomorrow morning covering in for Terry Ray when the plays hits the week. But now let's get to the series for the Pittsburgh Penguins and Ottawa Senators. Earlier today, it was leading the series. Ottawa 1-0 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh Penguins did win this game tonight. Now the series is tied up. Both are knotted at 1 apiece. This game was a 2-1 game for the Pittsburgh Penguins over Ottawa. This is the kind of game I call real hockey. Physical, hard-hitting, good play, fast, skilled players. As I mentioned before, that the injury of Jordan Leopold and the hit by Sutton, it'd be interesting to see how that evolves for the NHL's commission years and see how that goes up. The second game of tonight's doubleheader for the Eastern Conference, Game 2, was the New Jersey Devils taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. This game on Wednesday looked like an interesting game. Tonight, not so much. Tonight was kind of a blow-up game. 5-3 for Philadelphia. Sorry, 5-3 for New Jersey Devils over Philadelphia. The star of the game was Zach Parise with 1 goal and 1 assist. When we get back here and Hit the Puck, I'll have more Western Conference news, Game 2. And then tomorrow we'll be live with Chris Cannon, who'll be filling in for Terry Ray on the hits, plays, and goals of the week. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome to Hit the Puck, brought to you by Studio 4, here in Studio 4, rather. Late night here, ladies and gentlemen. It's about 11 o'clock here. As you know, the Colorado Avalanche game and the San Jose Sharks game just ended due to overtime. But first we get to Game 2 of the Phoenix Coyotes and Detroit Red Wings. That game was 7-4. It's sloppy hockey, you might call this. Although Hendrik Zetterberg did get 3 goals, a +2 at the end of the night. But it's sloppy hockey. I hope the next game is more interesting. Now to the game we were talking about, the Colorado Avalanche and the San Jose Sharks. That game is now tied up in the series at 1-1 apiece. No league regular right now is leading to series nothing yet. No one's. Everyone's so far tied 1-1 or 1-0. And the shots on net were 51 for San Jose and only 22 for Colorado. Anderson did a nice amazing in net again, as you can see, saving quite a few shots. The star of the game was Devin Setaguchi, rather. He had the 2 goals that night. He was a -2 the night he had the overtime goal. Thank you for watching here on Hit the Puck, your Game 1 and Game 2 highlights. And although it's very late, we'll be up here early in the morning to talk about the hits, plays, and goals of the week, well, since Wednesday. See you guys back here on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoonish, and then I'll see you guys back here on Monday. Have a good night.